one.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight for the Bliss and Laurel Park Master Landscape Plan Public Forum. I'm your town manager, Lynn Simmons. I'm looking forward to taking part in this planning process. Master plans are a great tool for municipalities to use to help guide the limited resources that we have. Development of this plan will be particularly helpful in establishing appropriate and sustainable recommendations and coordinate compatible uses moving forward. I look forward to your thoughts, considerations, and conversations tonight. And with that, I'll introduce Fran Crest to move us forward.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Fran Crest. I represent Long Meadow citizens. For 4 years, our mission has been to preserve the integrity of Bliss and Laurel Park, to enhance their ecological health and enjoyment of them. These 81 acres of parkland were assembled beginning in 1890 to form the town's water supply district. 6 parcels were acquired, 5 taken by eminent domain. The district was abandoned in the late 1920s. In 1934, by town vote, the land was transferred from the Water Commission to Park Commissioners. The parcel, by then bisected by Laurel Street, created Bliss and Laurel. They have been parks ever since. Our community parkland status in 2017. Tonight, we embark on the most exciting portion of our volunteer effort. In collaboration with the town of Long Meadow, we've assembled a core team to guide the development of a sustainable master landscape plan funded by a grant from the Community Preservation Act. 2 students in the master's program in sustainable landscape design at the Conway School of Northampton will complete this plan as their capstone project. Tonight is about bringing you into the planning process. Your engagement now and later as stewards for these parks. This is a plan that represents community needs, is ecologically sound, and is supported by grant funding and stewardship programs. Our goal, to achieve realizable and immediate improvements that enhance and execute plans for the ecological health of park ecosystems currently distressed and in need of resolution. These are the areas that need attention. Cooley Brook erosion, sedimentation buildup in Laurel Pond, compromised dams and water retention basins, storm drain infrastructure to these issues, water quality and the connection with the Silvio Oconte National Wildlife Refuge in the Meadows. 2, health and habitat, tree care, best practices for new growth and aging specimens and limiting of invasive species, understory native species propagation, both shrub and perennial. 3, walking trails, safety, best practices for maintenance, greater accessibility for other able walkers, trail mapping including distances and elevations, wide areas to rest and enjoy the views. 4, improvements, easy care design elements to enhance entrances and exits and existing recreational areas, practical placement of existing benches and picnic tables. So consider these thoughts as a jumping off point for our discussion tonight. I'm now happy to introduce Kara Montague and Shane Muehlmeister from the Conway School. Kara and Shane have been working with our core team since April 20th. I'm pleased to turn the meeting over to them. We'll share their goals and how you can help them to achieve them. Your vision is the development of their plan for our Bliss and Laurel Parks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fran, and thank you, Lynn, and thank you all for gathering. I'm excited to see so many people on the line. We have quite a group here tonight. So, and given, the strange circumstances right now, we just really appreciate everyone making the effort to join us on this helpful but pretty imperfect technology as we do this on an online forum. So, tonight is going to be an exercise in patience, but yeah, I think we can have a really good conversation. So thank you all for joining. My name is Shane, And just a brief background about me, I'm from California. I'm a graduate student at Conway this year in Northampton, Massachusetts. I'm actually back in California right now, just due to the current situation. And I'm really excited to be working on this project. I'm particularly interested in master plans and in doing master plans professionally. So yeah, really, really excited to be on board with this. So I'll hand it over to Kara.
Thanks, Shane. I just wanted to say that we know that the technology is a little glitchy, and so we're just going to sort of slowly get a little stuttery or sort of walk out at some point. We'll get back in. My name is Kara Montague. I'm excited to be here with you guys. This is we're planning a community meeting, and now we're doing it over the computer, and all of these different strategies we have for connecting with people feel very strange through the computer, but I'm excited to be here. Graduate student at Conway, I have been living in Vermont, running my own landscape design and garden maintenance business. And I'm excited to be here at Conway and learning more about professional design and sustainable practices. I'm living in Florence and have been down to Bliss and Laurel, I think 3 points, mapping trails and checking out the ecology. And it's a beautiful, gorgeous little park that you guys have, and I'm very excited to be here. So Shane and I are gonna move into a sort of more formal PowerPoint presentation about the planning process. And if you have questions during the process, please type them into the chat. You'll find there's a little word bubble chat down at the bottom of your screen. If you click on that, you should get some questions. I think everyone will be able to see them. Is that what we decided? And at the end of the presentation, we'll be able to answer some questions when they come up. So I'm going to start to share my...
I just wanted to add one more thing about microphones. Just because noise feedback can often make the audio quality challenging to hear, we're muting all the participants, but you can feel free to use the chat box, and then later in the conversation, we'll be opening it up to unmute people one by one.
All right, so I'm going to share my screen. All right, Shane, can you see that?
Yep.
All right. So before I get into the more formal part of the presentation, I just wanted to share this picture that I took about a week ago of some red trillium.
Oh, Kara, we're looking, wait, sorry. Kara, we're looking at the agenda. Yeah. You need to toggle. We're looking at the agenda.
Okay. You are looking at the agenda. I wonder if it's just going screen now.
It might be delayed on mine. Others might be able to see it.
I see it now.
You can see the PowerPoint?
Great. Okay, folks can see it.
We can see the photo now.
Okay, thanks. I was just going to say that in my visits to Bliss and Laurel Park to see the vibrancy and the wildlife that is there, on one of my walks with some folks from Longmeadow, we saw a red-tailed hawk, and then we saw a great blue heron, and then we saw them battle in the sky over the mating frogs in Laurel Pond. And it was just this moment of drama and excitement unexpected, and to find it in this small urban park, it's really, really fun. Shane, can you see the next slide?
I can't, but I'll assume you're there. So yeah, just to share a little bit about where we are in the process. This is really an information gathering stage as we're just sort of setting off, getting to know the park. We find ourselves here at the first community meeting. So after this meeting, we have a survey open for the next couple weeks, which we'll encourage you at the end to all complete. So right now, Kara and I are really just getting a sense of what the parks are like, how people use them, what people love about them, what people don't love so much, kind of getting grounded in the site. But after this, we'll be moving into a pretty rigorous analysis phase, looking at things like slope and drainage and soils and vegetation and how all of these factors kind of combine to create the dynamic ecosystem of the park. Before moving to the third stage of visualization, and this is really where we'll set out 3 alternative designs for the master plan. It will bring those designs to the community and to our clients and really hear from you all what's working and what's not. And then we'll incorporate that feedback before producing a final design at the end of June. So it's a pretty short timeline. It's a very accelerated program Kara and I are in, but we're excited to be setting off on it with you guys tonight. So the project scope is an ecological design program. So as such, we'll be focusing mostly on the ecological components of the park and then the human use as it relates to the ecology. So stream restoration is a big focus of the project, the trail network, invasive species management, and the maintenance of trail areas. But the things that aren't really in the purview of this project are the active recreation facilities of Bliss Park. So the swimming pool and the tennis court, that's really not so much the focus of this project. So yeah.
Just to get us grounded in a little bit of regional geography that I'm sure all of you know, but it's always good to go back to it. Longmeadow is on the Connecticut River. It's clearly part of the Connecticut River watershed. But just wanted to emphasize that everything that's happening at Cooley Brook eventually makes its down the Connecticut River and out to the Long Island Sound. And it's really not that bigger connection through the water to the region around us. It's also been such a treat to learn about the Fanny Stebbins Wildlife Refuge and that it is the #1 birding hotspot in Hampden County. And I think that may be one of the contributing factors to all of the wildlife that we see up along Cooley Brook and in the parks. Next slide.
So the first major goal, so the first major goal of the project, just to reiterate what Fran articulated, is stream restoration. So specifically looking at stream bank erosion and ways of stabilizing the stream banks and slowing that erosion. As you can see in this photo, there are some portions of the stream, especially in Bliss Park, where some pretty serious erosion is happening to 20 feet. And Kara, if you can go to the next slide. So this is a photo of one of the many stormwater culverts that drains into the park. So these culverts are capturing water from the neighbor park and bringing this basically street runoff into the brook. So the volatile flows from the contributing to the erosion. And we're also interested in looking at water quality impacts of this stormwater infrastructure.
Project goal #2 is to consider ways to reduce sediment fill in Laurel Pond. All streams and brooks carry sediment and deposit it elsewhere. It is a function of a healthy stream. But the question is it more sediment than there needs to be? Is there a way to mitigate it farther upstream towards the headwaters of Cooley Brook before it's getting into the pond? What are some remediation ways to work with the sediment before it continues to fill up the pond are some questions that we'll be looking at.
The third project goal is developing recommendations for management practices within the park. And these could be leading to stream health or forest health or trail maintenance So just thinking about ways to maintain the park in a more sustainable fashion.
Project goal number 4 is to analyze how constructed feature stream functioning and consider whether structures should be removed. There is a whole bunch of built infrastructure towards the west end of Laurel Park that we believe is remnants of the old water supply reservoir, but it's unclear. That history still needs to get investigated. There are parts, particularly at this little dam, once it falls out of that dam, the stream goes underground for about 40 feet and then it reappears. And so questions are, is that infrastructure, does it, what are the implications of removing that infrastructure? What would that do to the stream? Questions like that.
So I'm turning my video off for a minute just to try to improve the connection. But so looking at the next slide, project goal number 5, we'll be trying to develop a plan for invasive species management. This photo sort of captures the situation along the banks of the stream in Laurel Park, and burning bush and multiflora rose and bittersweet, and a plan to prevent the further spread of these invasive species, better manage them, and incorporate more indigenous species. And the last goal is relating specifically to human use. And this is where you all come into play. So one of the things we're most excited about talking to everyone tonight is figuring out how you use the park. Kara, in her several visits, has observed huge diversity of recreational uses within the park. Bird watchers and mountain bikers and children playing and people sitting by the pond. And how can we accommodate all of these uses while protecting the ecological functioning of the park?
So as we go through this information gathering part of the planning process, looking at stormwater infrastructure, slopes, soils, vegetation, park history, both in terms of the waterworks and the master plan that was developed in the 30s by the Olmsted brothers, and also so the development history around the park and how that's all impacting the health of the stream. Then there's the neighborhood and regional context in terms of how the park is fitting into this town as a whole and into the Connecticut River watershed. We'll look at the access and circulation around how people are using the park and accessing the park. And today, the feedback that we'll be getting for you is around how you are using the park. So that is sort of the invitation, and we'd love to check in with the chat room. I don't think I can see the chat because I'm sharing my screen, but if we've gotten any questions, if somebody.
I don't see any questions yet, but if anyone does, enter them now.
And that,
I have a question. I'm on the telephone.
Oh.
Okay, great.
Can I ask it now?
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes.
Oh, sure. My name's Andrew Fox, longtime resident in town, and actually our home closely abuts both parks. I guess I think of the two parks as separate. I know they're kind of together, but I look at, one side of Laurel Street being Bliss Park and the other side being Laurel Park, or at least that's the way I kind of picture them. I guess my main concern is I'd like to see what I call Laurel Park, which would be on the west side of Laurel Street, stay in a more natural state as opposed to all the developments or changes that have been made to Bliss Park with the paved trails and the big playscape now versus years ago when it was kind of more just natural, without paving and without big plastic slides and metal playscapes, and it's just a simple swing set. So I understand there are pluses and minuses to everything. But when it comes particularly to Laurel Park on the other side, I'd like to see it stay in a more natural state without a lot of development and man-made this and paved that and stuff like that.
Great, thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anybody else also? Yes, Lynn?
Karen, Shane, are you able to see the chat that's coming in?
Yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah, so we have a few, I can see it. So we have a few comments. One person says current use is changing, bike and hiking trails. Bliss is a popular dog walking spot. A couple people agree with the phone caller and are in favor of keeping Laurel a more natural environment. Okay, someone's asking about what happens to the water in Bliss Pool when it's drained. I can't say I know the answer to that question quite yet, but something to look into.
We did. Lynn might be able to add to this, but I feel like we just heard from DPW that they were updating their connection to the sewage line for draining the pool, which would imply that it goes into the sewage system and not the stormwater system. So it's not going into the brook. And did you want to add anything else about that?
I know they don't drain it fully. They might drain a few feet off of it to winterize it. And they were doing some drainage work there recently, but I don't have the specifics when they drain the pool out, where they're draining it to. But I can certainly get that answer for you so you can incorporate that into your final.
Yeah, so there are a lot of other great comments, a lot of people agreeing with the caller. A question about the crosswalk in between Laurel Street, which is something we can consider. And yeah, people agree with the crosswalk idea. So there are lots of great comments, and Karen and I will be saving this chat transcript after the meeting is over. So all of your comments will be, we'll be able to refer to them after the meeting as well. But I don't think any other questions for the moment.
All right. Okay. So I think we're, at this point, we are going to conclude the broadcast portion of the presentation, but continue on with the Zoom meeting and get into a little bit more kind of interactive tools, which would be hard over YouTube and TV. So we're going to end the broadcast portion, but please stick around on Zoom, probably for another half hour or so. We're going to do some mapping and some polling, some more questions and answers. So guidelines moving forward for the Zoom meeting. There are no stupid questions.